morning. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the December 6th Sunday service of the Unitarian Universalist Church of St. Petersburg, a congregation which seeks to promote spiritual growth and caring community by exploring life and the wisdom of all peoples. My name is Jack Donovan, pastor of the UU St. Pete. We are a congregation for all souls, all ages, genders, orientations, colors, abilities, educations, beliefs, questions, hopes. Thank you for being with us this morning. Blessings of this week and all of its holidays, Advent, HIV/AIDS awareness, genocide prevention, Anti-Corruption Day, Pearl Harbor, Human Rights, Hanukkah, Modi Day, and the Immaculate Conception. Thanks to Sarah and Paul and John and James for contributing to today's service in word and song and production. And thanks to all of you who make ours a blessed community.
Good morning. My name is Paul Craig, and I'm here with my wife, Sarah. It's good to be with you this morning. We light our chalice now as a symbol of our search for truth, our shared communion, and our growing light of understanding and caring. Join, if you will, in the words of our covenant. There we have it. Love is the spirit of this church and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Our invocation this morning is an adaptation of the Magnificat, as reported in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 1. A reinterpretation of the words Mary of Nazareth spoke to her cousin Elizabeth soon after she learns they are both unexpectedly, joyously pregnant. May our souls as seeds of being grow to greaten the sublime being of beings, growing in joy from its sustenance. May we grow to serve the sublime in all, for it pours the fullness of grace into those willing to serve. May the generations know us as blessed, seeing the sublime working through us, made whole and holy by loving kindness, in hope they too will grow and serve. Amen. And now, our opening hymn.
Mysterious presence, source of all the world without, the soul within, thou fount of life, oh hear our call, and pour thy living waters in. Thou breathest in the rushing wind, thy spirit stirs in leaf and flower, nor wilt thou from the willing mind withhold thy light and love and power. That touch divine again impart, still give the prophet's burning word, and vocal in each waiting heart let living songs of praise be heard.
So I have a question for family dinner conversation. It's from Alice of Alice in Wonderland. After Alice returned from Wonderland, she did not stop wondering. One day, talking to her kitten, she wondered what was on the other side of her image in the big mirror on the wall. The kitten was no help, because whether Alice asked a yes question or a no question, the kitten just purred. Wonderful but not helpful conversation if you are wondering about a question. So Alice found that she could go through the looking glass, the big mirror on her wall, go behind her own reflection, her own image, into the looking glass room and beyond, to places inside the image that you don't see when you look from this side. She found the looking glass world was set up as a big chessboard or checkerboard with lots of players. And one of the players was a queen whose conversation Alice found bewildering. "I don't understand you. It's dreadfully confusing," Alice said to the queen. "That is the effect of living backwards, my dear," said the queen kindly. It always makes one a little giddy, at first." "Living backwards," Alice repeated in great astonishment. "I never heard such a thing." "But there's one great advantage in it, that one's memory works both ways," said the queen. "I'm sure mine only works one way," Alice remarked. "I can't remember things before they happen." And the queen answered, "It's a poor sort of memory that only works backwards." So who do you agree with, Alice or the queen? That's a question for conversation. Can you live backwards sometimes? Can your memory work both ways, backwards and forwards? Can you remember things before they happen? I think I agree with the queen. If I remember things that already happened from my past, I can use what I learned to help me decide what to do next in the future and what not to do in the future. It's just like a game of chess or checkers. You remember what happened before when you made this or that move, so you can best decide what's the best move to make next. Remembering forward. Not confusing at all. It's called wondering. So when you look in the mirror and see yourself, don't forget your mind is working inside of you, on the other side of that image that you see in the mirror, wondering what you've learned and what move to make next. So my question finally is, what do you think? What do you think? Food for thought and for wondering. And also food for joys and concerns. If you have a particular personal joy or concern to share today, please type it into the comment column on the right of your YouTube screen. And you may share again during the coffee hour after this service. And you're also welcome to send in joys or concerns for sharing at this time during next week's Sunday service. I'm happy to note that long ago, UU St. Pete member Dawn Rates and her son Gabriel, who let us know a couple of weeks ago that they had COVID-19, are now safely at home together, both making progress in recovery. And I'm happy to note that we at UUSP will be joining with the UU Church of Santa Barbara, California, in ordaining our former music director, Nick Filzen, as a UU minister after his several years of study at Meadville Lombard and doing an internship at the UU Church of Santa Barbara in California. The ordination service will be on Zoom on March 7th, Sunday, March 7th in the afternoon. Thanks to all the great spirits in the congregation keeping us all connected. You are a joy and bring joy to all of us. Now, our offering for this morning.
And now it is time for our offering. To keep our congregation thriving, may we remember our connection to one another. And let us not forget our offerings to support the means to those connections. As you listen to our brief offertory, please click on the I in the upper right-hand corner of your screen to make a contribution. You may also donate by the Give Plus app or by visiting our webpage and clicking the Giving tab, or sending a check to the church office. Many thanks.
Our first reading is drawn from a sermon entitled Likeness unto God by one of the founders of the American Unitarian Association in 1825, the Reverend Dr. William Ellery Channing. I affirm and would maintain that true religion consists in proposing as our great end a growing likeness to the Supreme Being. Its noblest influence consists in making us more and more partakers of the divinity, that perfection of the soul which constitutes it a bright image to God. To grow in the likeness of God, we need not cease to be human. The likeness does not consist in extraordinary or miraculous gifts, in supernatural additions to the soul, or in anything foreign to our original constitution, but in our essential faculties, unfolded by vigorous and conscientious exertion in ordinary circumstances. Our proper work is to approach God by the free and natural unfolding of our highest powers of understanding, conscience, love, and the moral will. These are marks of a divine origin and the pledges of a celestial inheritance. And I thank God that my own lot is bound up with that of the human race.
For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage and fathers of time. We are daughters of dust and the sons of great vision. We're sisters of mercy and brothers of love. We are lovers of life and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth and keepers of faith. We are makers of peace and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are.
For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are.
For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are.
Our second reading is from the 1831 Journal of Transcendentalist Unitarian Margaret Fuller. After the Thanksgiving church service, sitting by a stream in the meditative woods, I wondered, how is it that I seem to be this me? What does it mean? What shall I do about it? And then I saw that there was no self, that selfishness was all folly and the result of circumstance, that it was only because I thought the self real that I suffered, that I had only to live in the idea of the all, and all was mine. This truth came to me, and I received it unhesitatingly, so that I was for that hour taken up into God.
The difference between humanity and divinity, and the difference it makes. What is it people refer to when they use the word God or divinity? For some people, divinity is a divine creator who is external to the world, a separate being. Think of one circle labeled God or divinity, and a second circle labeled nature or world that is created by, but entirely separate from, the first. This can be theism or deism. Theism, where a creator continually determines the state of the world. Deism, where a creator started the dynamic going, then departed forever. For other people, portions of the divine creator and its qualities remain within a portion of the created world as well as outside of it, like this. Think of the God circle overlapping in part with the natural world circle. This is panentheism, the supernatural and the natural overlapping in part. For still other people, the divine circle and the natural circle are completely overlapping or are one and the same. The creator being's qualities are present in all creation, and the substance itself of the creator being could be the substance of all creation. Formlessness becoming form, form becoming formlessness, formlessness becoming form, becoming transformed. That is called pantheism. Whichever camp you are in, you still must also wonder about the nature of that creator being. Does it know about the natural world? Does it feel about the natural world? Does it care? Does it will? Does it act in or upon the natural world? And to what extent does it know or feel or care or will or act? With Darwin's principle of evolution through natural selection and Mendel's principle of evolution through genetic mutation, the idea that divinity has any of these several qualities has powerfully come into question. And increasing recognition of humankind's universally practiced conquests and genocides by and against every tribe and nation added to the doubts about there being a divinity, all-knowing, all-loving, all-powerful, all-just. This kind of God concept has simply been losing rational defenders for centuries. Divinity now is increasingly seen not as a being, but as being itself, the being of beings, with an inherent process of evolving in complexity and in capacities of consciousness. As a rabbi friend once noted to me, now people must see they are choosing, not chosen. And, he added, there's the rub. And there, I would propose, is where we'll find the difference between humanity and divinity, and how and why it matters. What is it that people refer to when they use the word humanity or humankind? Years ago in rural north central Florida, I walked into a rather remote cottage that was full of Christs. Yes, Christs. 6 or 7 men in their 30s or 40s, drinking coffee, their conversation oriented toward a man in a bed in the center of the room, purplish blotches on his skin, very frail, but able to take my hand and ask for prayers. What shall we pray for? I asked. To give thanks, he said. It was 1988. He was my first patient as a volunteer chaplain for our area's new hospice program. And I think he was our first AIDS patient. I always felt deeply that our hospice team, doctor, nurses, social workers, and health aides walked on water for their patients. And now I saw this group of men, everyday people, walking on water too, Christs, changing the trajectory of understanding and caring and the spirit of the world. They had pooled their resources, found this sheltered country cottage, and spent their non-working hours being with and caring for their dying friend. He was never left alone. He died a few weeks later, ill but whole, holding hands with his friends, grateful for them, grateful for his life. The difference I see between human and divine is in this. What is often called divine, the divine, pours endless grace, endless creative power into the being of every beings. And so I say can be understood to be the being of every being. But as such, it cannot choose between or prefer beings. Whether to person or to virus, the divine must by its nature give full providence. No individual, tribe, or species receives extra grace, extra helping power that is divinely preferential. All are provisioned according to their species. Nature alone makes the selections of what works best for thriving and for surviving. In comparison to divinity's necessity of being limited to unconditional providence and random mutation, Humanity has higher, almost unlimited powers. Powers of memory and imagination. Powers of narrative to create choices. And powers of will to be able to choose. You can choose. You can learn from the past, dream of a better future, devise alternative narratives to achieve that future, and choose preferred actions to turn imagination into preferred reality. That is what that group of men did. It is what mothers have worked to do since the first realization that the fruit of their womb, the seed of their spirit, can grow. Like Mary, pregnant with possibilities, they strive so that through them divine blessing will expand. These higher powers are your powers. They are awesome. They are the difference between divine and human. And with them, you can do what the divine creative power of the universe has never been able to do until us. Choose to use your creative energy to imagine a better life, ahead of time, and to choose to make it happen in time. Do you see our trajectory from growing in order to be liked by divinity, to growing to be like divinity, to growing to be one with divinity, to growing to grow divinity? You are a wonder, and a wonderland, really. Your light starts spreading when you choose to light a candle rather than curse the darkness. Thank you ahead of time. Now, Sarah and Paul and John and James with the closing of our service. Blessings, and hope to see you after the service at our Zoom coffee hour.
And now, a few announcements. Check out our website and our newsletter, Infonet, to get informed about the activities for all of us. Feel free to contact Pastor Jack anytime to talk. He can meet you on the church portico in the fresh air. Remember, it's never too late to join one of our small groups, 10 or so folks, meeting to share about life. Let Pastor Jack know if you're interested. Next Sunday, December 13th, at 5:30 p.m., on Zoom, our top cook, John Motter, will show us how to make a delicious gumbo base that allows for endless variations. And don't forget, we'll gather at the church this afternoon at 4 p.m. in the backyard picnic area for those of you who would like to watch the service together in person on UUSP's new super big TV. Masks, social distancing, and reservations are necessary. You can make your reservation either by clicking on the link that's in Infonet or by emailing Sarah Craig at sjanecraig@gmail.com. Thank you.
And now as our service ends, with a breath, we pass the flame of our chalice lamp to each other as we say our closing words together. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of love, or the fire of courage. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world.
May your life be as a song, resounding with the dawn, to sing awake the light and softly serenade the stars, dancing circles in the night.
May your life be as a song, resounding with the dawn, to sing away the light, and softly serenade the stars, ever dancing circles in the night.
And may your life be as a song, resounding with the dawn, to sing away the light, and softly serenade the stars, dancing circles in the night.
The stars, ever dancing circles in the night.
Dancing circles in the night.